Hello everyone, today in this video we'll be discussing about classes. So let's see how to initialize a class. So we'll be giving class and then class name and then we'll be giving some colon, and within this we'll be writing all the variables and methods. Okay, so let's initialize this class. So in order to initialize the class to some variable, we have to give like this. Okay, then some object for this human class will be created and it will be stored in this X. Okay, and using that X we can access the variables and methods that are written within this class. Okay, so here it is printing 0 because here there is 0 by default, and we can change them directly like this: x dot a is equal to 5. Okay, so it will work like this, and let's print. So if you are trying to print, it is printing 5 now. So let's add some methods to it, and here if you see there is some function underscore underscore init underscore underscore. This is similar to constructor. Okay, so here if we see we are defining a constructor, and within this constructor we are using self. So if you observe, for everything we are using something called as self. What does this self mean is, this is similar to this operator in C++. So it will be referring to the current object, and to to this constructor I am passing 3 variables. So if you don't want to pass anything, then like no need to pass. If you wanted to like initialize some instance variables with some specified values given by user, then we can pass these variables like this, and then we can give them self dot name equal to name, self dot age equal to age, self dot gender equal to gender. So here if you observe, these are called as instance variables, and these might not be present for all the objects, because like you might write some if condition, like if name is like if name is something, like we can write some if condition like this. So whenever name is something, then only it will initialize the gender. If not, the remaining objects will not be having this variable gender. Okay, so this can happen. That's why we call these as instance variable, whereas these are called class variables. Class variables are common for all the objects of the class, whereas instance variables are only present whenever we initialize them. So that's the basic difference. And to this constructor we can pass how many other parameters we can. Okay, so basically if we don't give but the default values, then like we have to definitely pass these 3 values. Okay, so there is nothing like method overloading or constructor overloading in case of Python. So if you wanted to have multiple forms of the same constructor, then you need to give such default values. And when we have default values, if you are not giving, it will be by default taking that particular value. Okay, like that we have to manage some things. Okay, so I hope you understood how the constructor is used in case of Python, and we can write some functions like this. Here I am writing a function that is isMeasure. To this also I am passing this self. So for everything we have to pass this self. Okay, so instead of self we can use some other name also, we'll be seeing in some time. So here I am writing return self dot age greater than or equal to 18. So what it will be telling, it will be giving true if the age is greater than or equal to 18, false if it is less than 18. Okay, similarly this introduce function will print all the variables. Okay, so let's see, I am creating an object of X. So whenever there is a constructor, and within this constructor there are specifically 3 values like this, then you have to definitely give these 3 values. If you don't give this, it will be giving us error. So let's see. So for now it executed correctly, but let's say, sorry, it is giving some error. It is saying name is not defined. So it is not capital N. Just now I changed, it is small n. So that's why it is giving this error. Now if we execute, it is not giving us any error. But let's say I have removed this male, then let's see. Then it is giving us error, and it is saying it is expecting gender argument. So we have to definitely pass these three values for sure. And if you wanted to skip them, then you have to give default values here, like male, or for age something you need to give by default. Okay, let's say I'm giving 9, and similarly for name also I'll be giving something. Even you can, if you don't want to give something, then you can directly give none. Okay, even this is possible. When you don't want to give something, then you can use this none. And now in this case, like if you don't pass anything also, it will work. But the thing is, it will assign for name, age and gender, it will be assigning none values. Okay, if you wanted to assign some specific value, then you have to mention those over here. Like that we can change, like make some adjustments to this constructor. I hope you understood this point, like how to adjust these constructors and how to use when we want multiple parameters, like that. Okay, so these are functions, and we can use functions within our, like functions within class are called methods of that particular class. Okay, so these are of methods of class human. Okay, so we can access them like with the particular object. Okay, it is giving us error because here by default it is none value. We are giving none value when we are not passing anything. So let's pass something. So let's pass something like a Lu and something 89 and some other thing male. Okay, like this, if we pass something, then it is giving us true because here 89 is greater than 18, that's why it's giving us true. And if you give introduce, then it will be printing us all the required things. So okay, so if we see, I'm not giving name as something, that's why it is giving us error. Okay, so this particular thing is not initialized, but we are trying to access over here for that particular object. Okay, so that's why these are called instance variables. So I guess you got a clear idea now, like what are instance variable, how a constructor is created and all. And let's go to the next one. First, let's execute this and let's see this. Now it will not give us anything because I'm directly giving it over here. And like instead of self, we can also pass like this. So whatever thing we will be giving in the first parameter as a first parameter, that is taken as self. Okay, so instead of self, we can directly use something like object or some other name you can give, whatever you want it to give. Okay, so like that we can create, and this also will work fine. And similarly, like if we wanted to print this X directly, then it is printing something, some human object. It is saying that it is a human object and it is printing some address. So instead of this, you wanted to print all the variables of this, or you wanted to print some random string. So to do that, what we have to pass, we have to use this underscore underscore string function, and in this function whichever you return, so that will be printed. So if you see, I'm doing print x, so print x will be printing all the this value that is returned by this particular function. Okay, so let's see, let's execute this and let's print x. So here it is printing name, age, gender and profession. So all these things that I'm like that I'm trying to print over here or returning over here. Okay, and similarly for y also it will do the same. And we can also directly change the class variables. We have seen it already. Like this also we can change. So as we are mentioning x as the object, it will only get changed for x. Okay, so if you see, it is getting changed to directed. For for y, let's see, and here it is showing it as actor only because we are only changing it for x. Okay, and we can delete some object using del of x, and then if we delete, then after deleting, if we try to access, it will be giving us error. Okay, so I hope till this point everything is clear, and in the next video we'll be seeing like about inheritance and some other thing concepts. Okay, I hope you guys understood about this class. Thank you.